Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head over the water to Copenhagen in Denmark once again, and we're going to revisit one of my favourite breweries here in Scandinavia. So we are of course talking about Amager Bryghus again, and we're going to have a look at another beer from their collaboration series. So this one is the Game of Arms, an Imperial licorice porter, and it's done in collaboration with Cigar City Brewing from Tampa over in Florida. So this guy comes in at 8.2%, it's rated 96 overall on Rate Beer and 48 within the style. So that tells you that it should be a really good beer, but it's quite quirky, I guess you would say, within this Imperial Porter category. So it should be really nice. This is my 10th review from Amager as well, but it's actually the first dark beer I've reviewed from them. I hadn't intended it that way, but most of the beers that I've bought up from System Bolaget have been pale ales. I always buy the Amager beers when they come in, but this is the very first dark one I've come across, so I'm looking forward to it. And it's also my first encounter with Cigar City Brewing, and it's my first beer from Florida as well. So quite a few things going on in this review, and I'm really looking forward to having a go at this beer. So I hope you guys enjoy it as well. But anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the breweries. If you do want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery websites, the link to my other reviews from Amager, and a link to my future reviews that hopefully I can do from Cigar City Brewing. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do subscribe to the channel. The whole channel uses a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beers based on country, city or state, whatever you're interested in. There's also the playlists of beers from different countries as well. Do check out my whiskey and sake reviews, as well as the interviews and other things that are on the channel. And as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries you guys would like to see me review. Always interesting to hear from you guys, and your support of the channel is hugely appreciated. Do get in touch as well if you're watching from Florida, because it really would be interesting to hear more about the craft beer scene that you guys have going on in your states. We don't get too many beers from different states over here in Europe actually, so please do write me up if you are in Florida. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Amager Bryghus first of all. So Amager Bryghus are based in Kastrup in southeastern Copenhagen in Denmark, and these guys are probably one of the best known Danish craft breweries. The brewery was established back in 2007 by two young friends, Morten Valentin Lundsbach and Jakob Storm, who were both avid home brewers. And apparently in school the pair were forced to do a chemistry and physics project together, so they wrote about the fermentation process in beers, which really kind of planted the seeds for a love of craft beer and home brewing, and this was when they decided to turn professional, of course. So after opening in April 2007, their beers really quickly established themselves in Copenhagen, which by the way has a really thriving craft beer scene. There's a lot of home brewers there, and a lot of craft breweries have evolved out of that, of course. But very quickly their first brew kit that they had was too small to meet demand, so in 2011 they upgraded all their facility, and they're based in the Tornbu area in Kastrup in southeastern Copenhagen. But these guys have got a really quite humorous approach to actually kind of marketing their beers and stuff like that. They like to write really random stuff on the labels of their beers. I'll read out the blurb on this one for you later, but this caused them major problems with their first exports when they were going to Finland and Sweden and Norway and things like this, because of course you have the nationalised beer shops in these places, and of course the government were a bit kind of wary of this when they took it on, but it really has stood them in good stead since then. As you can see, they've got some quite distinctive artwork on their beers, which makes their beers really recognisable, and my experience that I've had with Amager has only been positive. They've got some really strong beers in their range, and they're always doing collaboration brews like this, but they're exported all over the world now, and if you're particularly interested in Danish beer, Amager Bryghus are one that I really would recommend. But there's a lot of good breweries in Copenhagen for you to check out, and of course Denmark is a very strong country these days when it comes to beer. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Cigar City Brewing then. So Cigar City Brewing are based in Tampa in Florida, and they were founded back in 2007 by Joey Redner, who had previously worked at Dunedin Brewing. I'm not sure if that's in New Zealand or if that's another brewery in Florida, but he was also a beer writer for the Tampa Bay Times. Now he hired Wayne Wambles as his brewmaster in 2008, and the brewery produced their first beers in January of 2009. So the brewery are actually known for their limited Hanafu Imperial Stout, and they host a beer festival every March to celebrate its release. But as of March 2016, Cigar City Brewing are in a partnership with Oscar Blues Brewery from Longmont in Colorado, and the main reason for this partnership was that Joey wanted to expand the capacity of the brewery, but he didn't really want to borrow money from the banks in order to do this. Their own facility in Tampa has an output of 60 BBLs, and they contract brew it at various other facilities breweries such as Brew Hub, and that will likely change now, of course, though, because of this new partnership. But that seems to be a thing that is becoming more common over in America. There are breweries that are joining the big kind of corporate breweries, but there also seems to be a bit of a culture that there's kind of peer networks of different craft breweries joining up, and if they can't maintain independence and kind of grow as they would like to, I guess the peer network thing is going to be an interesting thing. There are quite a few skeptics of that over in America actually, but that's a wee interesting thing that you can look more into yourselves. I'm here to taste the beer, of course, rather than talk about the ins and outs of the actual industry, if you like. But always interesting to encounter new breweries. Cigar City Brewing are one of the American ones that a lot of people have asked me to try, but this is the first beer I've come across involving these guys. Hopefully I can get out to Florida and get some of their own beers and do some dedicated Cigar City Brewing reviews for you as well. But always cool to try these beers, and we'll get on to the tasting section of this video now. So as I said to you, this guy is an 8.2% Imperial Porter. I'll just read out the blurb on the side of this one for you, as I always like to do. So it says here, should anybody ever ask us which two breweries in the craft beer world are the two manliest, we wouldn't hesitate for a second before naming Tampa's Cigar City and our very own Amager Bryghus. So whenever the two breweries meet, their main brass will engage in the manly sport of arm wrestling, be it in the brew house, in the tap room, or in a random bar. All friendly playing, of course, and always the same outcome, a humiliating defeat for the Tampa boys. Not only will our big man head brewer Jakob Storm beat them, but so will fellow founder and CEO Morten Lundsback, and both right and left hand. Last time we met the Tampa boys, they pulled out saying they didn't really care much for arm wrestling anymore. Nevertheless, this beer was originally brewed and released by Cigar City under the name Top Roll. Apparently the name of a secret arm wrestling technique all employees at Cigar City must now learn to keep their job. All in the faint hope that maybe, but just maybe one day, one of them will be an Amager boy. At Amager we shrug and smile politely and wish them nothing but the best of luck. So yeah, nice little blurb on that one. The specs of this beer, 8.2% Imperial Porter. It's hot with Columbus, Vanguard and Centennial. Vanguard is a hop I'd never heard of before actually. I've maybe tried it before, but it's another American hop, and it's known for its kind of woody aroma apparently. But it's got a malt base of Pilsner, Dark Crystal, Crystal 150, Low Crystal Chocolate and brown malts with some raw licorice added to the brew as well, and it uses a UK ale yeast strain. Sorry, I can't speak today. I'll just let you see the artwork of this one before we open it up. There you can see, there's the arm wrestling there going on between Amager and Cigar City. You can see Amager on the right with its horns, and then the Cigar City on the left, on the right. Sorry, yeah, Cigar City on my left, on your left, and Amager on my right. Getting mixed up this morning when I'm filming this review, but there you can see the standard Amager bottle cap on this one, and it's really nicely presented. Like I said, these guys have a very distinctive style of artwork, and there you can see the two brewery symbol. There's Amager, and here is Cigar City Brewing there. But yeah, really nicely presented. As I said, a lot of the guys that watch the channel over in America have said do try some of the Cigar City beers, so this one should be really good. So yeah, you can smell a nice bit of the chocolate coming out of this one as you open it up, but we'll get this guy out and into the glass. It's got a really nice smoky opening on it there as well. Sugar it up a little bit and get a wee bit more head, but we'll pour out about half the bottle just for this kind of tasting purpose. So there you are, really nice looking beer. So as you can see from this one, it's poured a nice kind of ebony rosewood colour. You've got a nice little bit of a ruby tint to it. There's a half finger of a frothy beigey tan head on this one, some big bubbles of carbonation sticking towards the side of the glass, and quite a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of that head there. But overall, it looks like a really nice beer, kind of exactly what you would expect of a porter. So let's have a closer look at the aroma of this one then. Yeah, this has got a really nice kind of roasted malt base to it. It actually smells very, very chocolatey, to be honest. There's a bit of brown sugar in there, but it's got a nice, almost bready character. It has a bit of this rye bread character that you'd kind of expect, actually. It's got a really nice aroma, this one. So as I always say with the Amager beers, just take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma coming out of these. And like I say, this is my first encounter with a dark beer from Amager, so I'm going to take a little bit of time just to enjoy this one and take it in. But yeah, a nice kind of almost rye breadish character coming out of this one. You can smell those nice kind of crystal malts in there, the darker elements coming out. There's a good bit of brown sugar, a kind of toasted caramel maybe, but the aroma is quite chocolatey, I would say. I'm not really getting much in the way of the licorice, to be honest. I'm not getting too much of that coming out in the aroma, but I'm sure it will be there in the flavour. Yeah, but chocolatey, some kind of brown sugars, maybe a toasted caramel rather than a treacle molasses. But there's a good roasted character kind of underpinning this beer, and you can pick out a bit of the earthy hop, but the nice kind of almost rye breadish character you have coming out of this beer is really interesting. The chocolate's good, the toasted kind of caramelly notes are, yeah, toasty sort of caramelly, maybe a little bit of the darker brown sugars, treacle, molasses sort of thing going on too. But some really nice earthy hops in this one. You can pick that out from this beer. Maybe there's a little bit of floral character as well from those American hops that are in this one. But there is a little bit of a woody element. I can pick that up, and I'm guessing that's the Vanguard. I had to check, like I say, I had to check that hop because I've not encountered too many beers using that hop. So I looked it up to kind of see what you should expect from that, and there is just a wee bit of that woody character coming out of this one, which is really quite nice. It's not, I wouldn't have expected a woody character to come from a hop right enough, but you can pick up just a little bit of that in this one. So yeah, take a little bit of time to enjoy the aroma of this beer before you get stuck in, but we'll have a go at this guy now. So this one is The Game of Arms, a collaboration between Cigar City Brewing in Tampa over in Florida and Amager Bryghus from over here in Scandinavia in Copenhagen. Skål! That is really nice. You know, as I say, my first dark beer I've had that involves Amager Bryghus, and it certainly doesn't disappoint. I'd be interested to try the one that's brewed over in Cigar City under Top Roll as well, to see if it is any different, because they can vary just a little bit. But this is a really, really nice beer. And to be honest, it does kind of reinforce Amager's status as one of my favourite craft breweries in Europe at the moment and in Scandinavia. You know, as I said, their IPAs are very good, but if they can produce dark beers like this as well, then they're pretty top class actually. But this is really, really nice. Yeah, so much like the aroma on this one, you've got a nice kind of roasted base to this beer. There's a good bit of bready character as well. You've got some nice kind of rye bready character just blanket in the middle of your tongue. On top of that though, there's a good bit of the kind of, it's almost like a kind of roasted black malt. It's not quite coffee bean, it does taste more like a kind of black malt character coming out of this one. But that's a really, really nice beer actually. You know, I do need to try some more of these darker beers from Amager now that I've popped the cherry. But yeah, you've got a nice sweet chocolatey character coming out to this one. There is a bit of roasted brown sugar in there as well. The milk chocolatey character actually starts to come out more as you move into the aftertaste. The beer does start off with the more bitter elements of the malt base there. You feel that kind of roasted, kind of black malty and almost coffee bean flavour just starting off. It does get a bit more bitter, and then as you move further and further into the aftertaste, it becomes a bit sweeter and you get a bit more kind of caramel out of it. It's really, really nice. And you can definitely pick up the licorice. It's more towards the front of the tongue actually in this one. But the licorice in this beer is really nice. If you know anything about Scandinavia, particularly Sweden, I'm not as sure about Denmark as I'm about Sweden, but here in Sweden they absolutely love licorice, so it's probably quite a popular beer style actually for them to put a porter to put licorice in. They absolutely love that over here. The Scandinavians seem to love their licorice candies, and you know, if they can produce beers like this with it, then more power to them. But it's really, really nice. The hop character in this beer is interesting too. If you move out towards the sides of your palate, you get these nice earthy flavours, and as you come further forward, I'm getting a little bit of a floral character coming out of this one, but mainly it stays earthy and just gets a bit lighter as you come forward. You can still feel it being a bit earthy around the front curve of the palate too, and that's again what you'd expect with a porter, and that blends well with this bready malt base and these sort of roasted characters that come out of it as well. There's maybe just a wee bit of a red fruity ester coming out of this beer too. Yeah, there's a little bit, if you just go behind that front curve of the tongue there, there's a little bit of a kind of figgy character, or maybe a wee bit of plums or raisin or something like that. You can just feel that little oily bubble behind the front curve of your tongue, and that's where you'll get these nice kind of red fruity characters, and it mixes quite well with the kind of licorice flavour that I was talking about. The licorice on this one comes out more in the centre of the palate, but more towards the front of the tongue, but overall it's really quite nice actually. This is a really good beer, and I'm glad that I finally got to try one of the darker beers from Amager. And you know, if this is a representation of Cigar City Brewing as well, then that stands them in very good stead too. Really, really nice beer this. Probably, I would actually go as far as saying this is probably one of the best porters I've reviewed on the channel actually. I've not reviewed a porter in quite some time, but it really is quite a good one. And this is a style, of course, the Baltic porters are a style that are quite famous in Scandinavia, so I do need to try and review more of those on the channel for you. I think the last one I did was Cigar from Finland, which was really quite good, so I do need to try that. But this one is really, really good, so if you get the chance to try this, I highly recommend that you do. In terms of the mouthfeel of this one, I'd say this one is mid-bodied. Yeah, mid-bodied, but for a porter, I always find that the porters are nice. With a stout, it's always a bit thicker and a bit creamier. The porters are a bit more drinkable than the stouts are, and that's one of the kind of distinguishing characteristics. This one's quite oily though. The carbonation is very smooth, of course, but you've got a nice kind of mix of sweetness and bitterness from the malt base in this one. A porter is always going to be a more malt forward beer. The hops have a little bit of dryness, but overall they are quite smooth, and you've got a little bit of fruity, juicy character from this beer as well. But like I say, overall this is another very, very solid beer. Exactly what I'd expect from Amager. I'm glad I got to try one of their darker beers as well, and this makes me want to try the Cigar City beers even more. So like I say, hopefully I can get out to Florida and get some of these beers, because a lot of the beers from the different states in America are really quite hard to get, but hopefully we start to get more of them over here soon. We get a lot of Californian beers, we get a lot of Colorado things as well, and some various other things from different parts of the states too, but hopefully I can try some more from Cigar City for you in the fairly near future. But this is a really, really nice beer. If you like licorice, you'll enjoy this beer. If you like your porters to be really smooth, with just a little bit of that kind of that sort of coffee-ish flavour in this one, if you like them to be quite nice and chocolatey, well blended, you are going to enjoy this beer. For me, this is more of a dessert beer. This is one that you drink on its own to kind of enjoy and appreciate. This isn't one you're going to session, although I do know some people who do quite like sessioning porter beers, but for me these ones are more of taster beers that I enjoy every so often. But this is a cracker, and if you get the chance to try it, I highly recommend that you do. But yeah, as always, thank you for watching my beer reviews. This was the Game of Arms from Cigar City Brewing over in Tampa in Florida, and Amager Brewing in Denmark. Really, really nice beer, this one. As always, do let me know your own thoughts on this beer and the brewery in the comments section below. Thanks for watching, and until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Go and check out my social media, and do let me know some other Florida craft beers and some other Danish craft beers that you guys would like to see me review. Always a pleasure to do these beers, and it was really cool to try my first one from Florida and my first dark beer from Amager. Until the next time, slange you just now, and I will catch you soon with more beer reviews. Make sure you check out this collaboration series from Amager if you get the chance, and this is a pretty damn good porter as well. Slange you just now, and I will catch you very soon. Cheers.